Okay, everyone, welcome to this module 5, needs assessment and problem definition. What is the real problem? So my name is Leen Broeks. I'm the panel manager of Lika Lab, Living and Care Lab based in Belgium. And together with Joaquin from Gaia, we will host this webinar. Yeah. And now I'm get stuck again. Let's see what goes wrong. I just wanted to go to the next slide. I'm going to stop share and share my screen again. Okay. Okay. So you can see my screen now? Yeah, okay. So the agenda for this afternoon is as follows. After a short introduction, we want to explore how you can explore the real problem. And then Joaquin will tell us more about stakeholder engagement and needs assessment. We dive a bit into needs analysis, and we have a very short exercise prepared for you. So this is a quote of Henry Ford, and it's if I'd asked what they wanted, they would have said faster horses. And Henry Ford was the designer of the first car. So it's good that he really was exploring what people really expected and wanted, because this is the answer you get when you ask people what they need. So people think in familiar situations, not only needs, but there's also desires and expectations that people have. So it's really important if you are in an innovation process, in a design process, to discover the real needs of people, citizens, patients, whatever. So there are a lot of user experience UX myths. I just picked a few of them of the website. It says people are rational, or people always use your product the way you imagined they would. People can tell you what they want. Users make optimal choices, and you are like your users. So these are all myths. It means, yeah, this is not true. Never make assumptions about your users. You have to ask them, and of course, people can tell you what they want. Don't stop just with wordings, with express themselves with words, but use also other methods to discover their real needs. Perhaps just a bit of an overview who we are and what we do. So as I told you before, I'm the panel manager of Lika Lab, Living and Care Lab, based in Flanders, in Belgium. Last year, we celebrated our 10th anniversary. We are a research unit within the Thomas More University of Applied Science. Our focus areas are end-user involvement by co-creation and real-life setting. And the main domains we are working in are care technology, but also collaboration models in care settings. As a test environment, we have a panel, and we are panel-based. That means that we have that we can reach out to older people, but also informal caregivers, patients, and also citizens. We have a broad network of care organizations where we can reach out to involve them in projects. And of course, we are a member of the European Network of Living Labs and also EIT. But before going into that, I don't know, Joaquin, if you want to present yourself a bit, what you do with Gaia?
Yeah, thank you, Lynn. Thank you very much for the introduction. Yes, I am Joaquin Garatea. I am the Director of International Projects. I am also in ENOL, in the European Network of Living Lab, as a secretary nowadays, so a kind of in the board. And just to tell you, today we are in a VITALISE, as you can be shared, because we have some researchers working with us, and we are working with them in a kind of silver living lab approach. We have here a case study with elder people and the way we are working. So happy to have this shared. If you as a researcher would like to visit our living lab here in Gaia, Gaia is a cluster that working in the living lab approach of living lab values. So also happy to have you here with us. That's all from my side, Lynn, if you want. Thank you.
So yeah, and I will give the floor immediately to you, yeah, because of course, I suppose a lot of you are a bit familiar with the design cycle. You have what is the problem? Can you solve it? Can you make it? And does it deliver? So today we are focusing on the first step. What is the problem? The exploration phase. So yeah, Joaquin, I would like to give the floor to you and take us through those stakeholder engagement and needs assessment. Just say whenever I have to go to the next slide.
Yeah, thank you. We will just make a kind of introduction. I mean, talking about the assessment for us, we have developed a methodology for the community engagement or user engagement because we needed to measure it. We do believe that it is important to assess the living labs in a global way, but also on the impact of the results. And if it is properly done in some way, the community engagement impact assessment as well, it is worth just to have this kind of methodology. So I will go from the general, explaining some issues that if you have attended other modules of this master course, we will insist in some concepts, but it will be very quick, and we will go deeply to this kind of community engagement approach and how we are this needs assessment or impact assessment that for us it is a must for working properly. So next one, Lynn, please.
I don't know where. Wait a minute. Yeah. Okay. Can you see the screen? Yeah.
Yeah, I think
yeah,
that
okay. Yeah.
the rest can see. So we know this, no? It's what is a living lab? Finally, it is a more than a methodology. I like to say that it is not just a methodology because in one sense, it's more than that. It is related to certain values of considering as well the user in the center, but also working with the stakeholders in a transparent and accountable way. And this is much more than a methodology. It's related to European values as far as I see. And we need just to work in some questions that to be answered in order just to have this kind of transparent and trustable exercise related to living labs. One of the main questions is who are the stakeholders involved? It is not a top-down real approach that I say that I will do something with this, but it is much more than this. It is solving a problem, and for solving a problem, we need some kind of stakeholders, and some of those stakeholders are having a problem, and we need to solve together with them. Secondly, how are these stakeholders identified to participate with us in these labs or demo? It is important. The how is important because if we want to have this engagement from the community, we are always thinking or working that the citizens are very important. Yeah, but how to engage the citizens is one of the most difficult things that we have in the living labs, citizens or users. If we are co-creating a service, this is a must. How, what for, and the way, and not just as a mere users, but also as a very important participant for doing so. And what are the stakeholder recruitment and engagement process that is related to the participation? What are the processes that we need to do? So we need time to do this. It is not going to be immediate. So I think that those three questions are very important to start working on this also recruitment or engagement of stakeholders. Next one, please. So We know all this. I think that explain again. I mean, we are an open innovation ecosystem. This doesn't mean just that we are researching or co-creating something openly, but also it is more on a philosophy of the open innovation. We are a kind of equality approach. We are in a kind of common values for co-creating something. And open innovation is, of course, not I order and you do, but that we need to co-create something together that will be useful in some way for you and in some way for me. This is part of the open innovation. They are focused on co-creation, rapid prototyping, scaling up innovation, joint value. So one of the most important things in our experience is the co-creation approach, the co-design, co-creating services. Since we are part also of the public administration, is very important how to co-create services together, the public with the private and the citizens. The social sphere is very important. So we need to do this using this kind of methodology, or the, let's say, proper way, the quadruple helix that we used to have, an ecosystem involving stakeholders from the different helix. I mean, administration, academia, users, citizens, government. Now we are introducing the new one, also environmental perspective, also related to the social. We are talking about the quintuple helix. But from what we have worked, the quadruple helix, all this kind of a sphere is very important. And the goal of the co-creation approach need to have a shared vision, a mission and strategic goals. And for this, we need to work in a transparent way. This is a must for the governance. I mean, the governance of a project, the governance of the structure, the governance of the living lab needs transparency. Otherwise, the engagement is a kind of fake. So we need transparency to have this kind of trustability from all the different stakeholders. Next one, please. So the quadruple helix, as I was mentioning, it is important. Sometimes we can have all of them, but if we have all the quadruple helix, we will cover with a vision. I mean, government, I mean the public part, public sector, industry, and the private one can be also semi-public in sometimes. The people, the citizens, and the academia, the universities. When we call academia, we call also vocational centers. Sometimes it is the university, in most of the cases, in the research-oriented, but we do also have vocational centers for some applied, or maybe because they are close to the living lab we are working and they are more engaged. It depends, but this is the quadruple helix that we are just having. How they work, I mean, every, let's say, part of the helix here have their own interest, but we need to have a common goal. They will have their own interest, it is true, and it is credible, and it is also legal, but we need to have to go for a common open innovation approach. We will co-create something together, and the use can be different for every part of the helix. I mean, maybe the academia want to make some papers or do some specific research. The citizens want to have a better living or a better something. The industry wants to have some profit, but of course they need to have a social impact as well. It is important, and the government want to have their citizens, as far as I see, to have a better services, to have happier citizens. That's the goal. Next one, please. So what do they have in common? I mean, they have different issues that we say, but I think that it is related to this active user involvement, co-creation, multi-method approach, the participation, the management in some way can be different depending on the governance, as I say, but we have a common ground and common objectives. If we say governance, let's govern through transparent ways. In most of the cases, this is the most important things. The research is important to have in the living lab. It is a must. I mean, they are some living lab more research oriented, but in most of the cases, even though it is not a research oriented living lab, could be a government driven or could be an enterprise driven living lab, but the research must be there in some other way. And the approach is important, is to represent the methods and techniques for living lab practices. I mean, We need to have a kind of methodology to work for this specific case. And the methodology means always to have the user-centric approach. We need just to have this in mind. We need just to work in that way. Next one, please. The environment. When we talk about the environment, it's not just the environment in the green sense, it's also the governance approach. It is important to have a good relationship, and with good relation, we means trustability. Yesterday, we were explaining living labs related to water, and in the water living labs or water-oriented perspective living lab, we have different stakeholders that can clash because their interest is very different: ecologists, government, water owners, I don't know, mountain owners. What we mean by a good relationship is not to have some beers together, is to have a transparent and trustable way of working. And in this kind of way, we will just work better. Good relation means I understand your position. We have some empathy. I understand your position. Let's work together with some specific goal to manage this living lab related to water in the best possible way, knowing that we are different and we will be different. Also, we need to have access to multi-contextual environment. High-end technology and infrastructure maybe is useful because can support the process and user involvement and technology development with this kind of multi-context, as we were saying, environment. We need organization and methodology suitable for the specific circumstances. As I was mentioning, it is not the same a water-related living lab sector, silver-related living lab, environment-related living lab, or well-being living lab. So you need to have this in mind. And people is very important, needs access to diversity of expertise in terms of different partners or stakeholders that can contribute to the current activities. I think that being an homogeneous group can make the things quicker, but having an heterogeneous one will make us richer. Maybe it will take more time, more discussions, but this is different. And equally important are the principles of the approaches apply. When we work on principles, we make related to trustability, I mean the normal principles, ethical approach, trustability. Let's try to make this from the beginning. Don't go to the maximum approach. Let's go maybe sometimes to the minimum one, minimum standard, minimum principles, and from then go up. Don't maximize, because in that way we will clash. Let's go to minimum principles. Next one. So we are using a tool for, as I was saying, what it is important for us are not that the results, maybe in some projects, maybe we will not get the results that we were expecting. If we are to co-create a product or co-create a service, maybe we will not have the best service and the best product. But we need to impact in some way in the context, the environment, the citizens, and the people that we have. And for that, we need to measure. We need to assess the impacts. We need to assess the needs that we have for having this impact. So we are using a SROI methodology. That this is a methodology that is related to something that we like to valorize for saying. So it is called the social return of investment. I mean, maybe we will not have a lot of economic benefit, but it is important for the living lab or our living labs to have a social impact. And the social impact can be monetized as well. So maybe a for-profit entity that is working with us will work that way. So this is initially the methodology that we use for the impact assessment. Let's go to the next. So in theory, what is the SRE? Then we will go to the practical part. What is the SRE? It's an investment analysis methodology. We can think that it's just money. Yeah, money is there. Monetize is there, but values mostly, and monetize the economy, social, and environmental benefit of any investment. But investment must not be always in money. We can invest in time, in hours, in spaces so indifferent. It assesses the risk and opportunities generated by the impact of a company, in our case, and services on the stakeholders. And the method measures the value of social benefits in relation to the cost. So the SROI is the value of benefits divided into the investment. Next one, please. So practically, as I say, it's an investment analysis which values and monetize the, let's say, the social impact, no? Economic, social, and environmental benefits of any investment. We are using this also for the community engagement. Why? Because stakeholders like the citizens in the co-creation of services and products in a Live Lab, they are investing time. And sometimes no, most of the time, they like to know what is the money, if we can just put the money that costs their time. And in that way, they feel also more engaged. I mean, because sometimes they know you are just investing time, but time nowadays is money. And maybe they are giving this for free, but we need to monetize. They need to know how much time they are investing on the benefit of the community. So for the community engagement, it's very good to have this kind of analysis. We have realized, and also to have a better structure. And we can measure in different ways. Also the data that we have, human capital investment, intangible assets that we are putting, environmental and social impact, future value, why not? The uncertainty also in some way that will happen, and also to have not financial metrics. So we will measure the performance and impact of a stakeholder. This will improve the decision making because they will know more concretely to monitor the value. And it is a better assessment of project risk and future opportunities. So this makes a continuity for a living lab also. Community engagement on the one side, and then we will monetize the work that we are doing to co-create services and products. Next one, please. So what it means in general terms, no? In the VITALISE project, for instance, that in some of the projects that we will explain you later on, it means for us a framework for evaluating the social, environmental, and economic impact of the project and the project that we are developing under VITALISE. So the analysis will help to identify and measure the outcomes of the project that are not easily quantifiable in monetary terms. It depends. This is something that the people say, no, how can I monetize the time? Of course, we can monetize this, such as the creation of sustainable jobs. That this is something that used to happen in a Living Lab projects. We have created more jobs. This is quantifiable. The improvement of technology in health sector and the co-creation activities as well. No, also can be effectively communicated to stakeholders. Say, no, look, your investment cost something. This is the money that you have. No, I communicate this to you, you user, you citizen. This is what you have. You university, you this or you that. No, such as investor, customers, policymakers. So we translate the social and environmental benefit into monetary terms that some people like, and this is something that is very useful. They are not going to ask for the money because they are there for other purposes. But why not if they can understand this approach? Also, the analyze sheds light on the strengths and weakness, enabling the project team to make informed decisions. I mean, we can also understand where the money or where the investment goes and align with the stakeholders' values and goals, uncovering opportunities for enhancement and deliver more meaningful benefits to the community and the environment. And also it is a good guidance for decision-making and continuous improvement efforts, enabling the project to maximize the positive outcomes and contribute to the well-being of the community and the environment. Next one, please. So we have a methodology. So first of all, as we have been saying is, let's establish the scope and identify the stakeholders, no? Determine the boundaries of the analysis and identifying the key stakeholders. Then map the outcomes, the changes, the benefits of impact resulting for the investment. Some indicators we are going to measure the needs. We are impacting the needs to serve as measure makers that make progress. Evidence the outcomes, let's measure, and the viability. Some data is collected. Let's establish the impact. Assign monetary values. This is the impact that we are having. Let's assess the needs and values to identify outcomes and the overall impact of the investment. Calculate the SROI. Can be calculated, is calculated, it's a metric. And then report and embed. Report to the community, report to the stakeholders. And let's communicate this also to the citizens. Some citizens may not participate, but they may know what this project finally has cost with some metric, with some assessment. Next one, please. Some specific and concrete project here, no? We have a living lab that is participating, in VITALISE, and it is an open innovation lab in a research of the biosphere. We have explained this in other models. I will go also quickly, but this is the living lab that we are using for the SROI. Next one, please. It is a living lab that has been created because we have some problems in this area. And I mean, it is a research of the biosphere. We cannot make any polluting industries anymore, and the people needs to live. And also we are the guardians, for saying so, of a research of the biosphere. So the citizens are there. They will not find easy jobs, but they are the guardians to keep alive this research of the biosphere and to keep it proper. So we develop a living lab in order just to make some projects and to solve some problems that were there. Next one, please. So we have a high ecological and landscape richness and a differential asset, and the innovation lies in two main aspects. We have some limitations because we are a research of the biosphere, but also we have some opportunities. And the particular management model of the living lab format make it possible to turn hidden opportunities into a smart growth model. So the objective that we have is to protect the ecosystem state and the biodiversity, improve the ecosystem, promote social well-being and health. That is why we are in VITALISE. This is one of the reasons, and support the development of green economy, sustainable land and water management as well. So it is a large-scale open innovation lab to attract companies through innovation in some strategic fields. Next one, please. The priority work areas, as we say, clean tech, sport and tourism, we'll say, and safety. In the safety also we are, and also in the sport and tourism, we are working on well-being and health, and that is why we have developed one of the projects that we will explain to you. Next one, please. We have a strategy. I will not go further. Connect companies with the territory, promote the cultural and innovative creative entrepreneurship, innovation strategy, testing laboratory, international talent management strategy, and involve also the population. This is important in the transformation project. How we involve, how we engage those stakeholders there is always a challenge, but we have a methodology for doing so. Next one, please. So in VITALISE, we have used two different, let's say, living labs there. Orientation, one it is related to rehabilitation, and another one is related to smart spaces with, let's say, sports and cultural spaces. It's not just for sports, it's also for culture. And we have this kind of approach in these, let's say, focused spaces that we are working. As you can see here, today we have also been working with elder people in order to develop projects for the needs or problems that they are having related to their well-being. Next one, please. So in the concrete project that they are explaining to you, we needed to make the mapping, first of all, which stakeholders were to participate with us. So we use the culture house of Guernica, the municipality, a university that is a cooperative and is working with cooperative companies, social-oriented university. I mean, most of the universities are social-oriented, but the cooperatives are social-oriented companies as well. It is a modern university. The citizens of Guernica, Gaia, Living Lab as a cluster, and the media as well. It was important to have them as a stakeholder group. Next one, please. So the involvement, how we involve them, no? First of all, we consider the Guernica citizens, how we were just working with them and the way we were doing. First of all, we need to communicate very well the project to them. This was a must, to be transparent with them and to analyze and to have a clear understanding of their needs. It was a bilateral communication. It was not just saying, no, look, we can do this. It's what are your needs? Are your needs that one? How can we work with you? And we will be honest and we will be transparent in the way we do. And also it was a way to improve the outreach, quantifying the saving. We will say the time that you involve will be evaluated, will be assessed. The municipality, the local government, second stakeholder, how we involve them. We improved the effectiveness of the work with administration. It was also a very good way to interact with their citizens. They involved the citizens and they were working together with their citizens. So they were very much committed on this. Gaia. For the Gaia, some companies of Gaia that was working on them. As you can see, they have different interests. They have the opportunity to identify new market needs, quantifying the savings in hours spent by ICT companies. They have the possibility to develop new technological products. And it was easier to develop new technological products working together with the citizens and municipalities. The university. They have the possibility to improve the training in different companies, training through technology. The university was interested in opening up their market as well, working with companies and working with administration. And they can also develop new training tools, new technologies for the training. So they have this possibility of saving on technology. And the media. The media was interested in improving the communication with the citizen, not just with newspaper, but also using some social networks or other social means. This was their interest for them. So on the one side that you can see, we have the stakeholders, and on the others, how to involve them. Next one. So when we have this in relation to the projects, we needed to understand what were the inputs, what were the outputs of the stakeholders, and what were their outcomes. So for the stakeholders, as you can see here, the first one are the Guernica citizens. The inputs were the support in the communication. The output were the hours spent in the communication, and the outcome, the result, were quality standards for health for them. The local government, the inputs can be subsidies, money. The outputs were new services for them, co-creating services. So the outcome for them was new services for the citizens. For the Gaia companies, the inputs were execution on infrastructures, allowing the use of new technologies to develop new technological products. The output was the hours spent in technology development, new technology products, and the outcomes were improving efficiency in the health system, increased communication, greater scientific production, and improvement of job quality for the companies. University inputs, improve the training with different companies, new range of products. The output were an increase of training, and the outcomes were a better image and position at local level, incorporation of sustainable values, greater scientific production. For the media, inputs were new services and products coming from technical development, the output, hours spent in the communication, and the outcomes, increased communication, better communication, more bilateral one. Next one. So the impact assessment, finally, on these social, let's say, inputs and results were improve well-being in elder people in the concrete project that we'll see, minimizing the stress situation, provide user-enhanced information, simulation, dynamic data, improvement of decision-making. We create sustainable jobs, expansion of service offering and capabilities, inclusion of special roles, advanced studies. We were able to reduce the stress of the elder people. I will show you later how we did it. We manage a system for prevention and assessment. We increase competitiveness. We develop new technology, new services, co-create services, and new methodologies. Next slide, please. So the project. We called to the project Guernicartes, and the goal was that you will see to create a podcast and a measure tool to minimize the stress of elder citizens of Guernica and try to improve through a better situation. We use the culture, that is why we involve the culture house, and we visited as a mean to improve the stress, to analyze the stress, and to improve also the social impact and evaluating. So we need, first of all, to design digital spaces. You will see also why some companies participating in the companies. We need to structure a web. We need to have a computer also for version mobile. We need to develop hyperlinks. We need to analyze the data because we were working with some critical data related to stress with elder people. And we need also to work on something that was important for the context. The area is a Basque-speaking area, so we need to take very careful and respect to the Basque language, similarly to the Castilian or to the Spanish. These were some considerations that working with co-working or co-developing with the citizens, with local people and also with the media was very clear for us. So as I say, in developing this, we involve the culture house, the university, the citizens, companies, and the media. Next one, please. So, as we have said, Guernicartes, as you can see, is a kind of wording means Guernica is the city, arte is arts, and in Basque it means through arts. So it is the promoting well-being through performing arts in order to avoid the stress. So one of the goals was to co-create services also for the public administration. We needed to redefine some smart spaces for co-creating sessions with citizens. So the city council decide together with the citizen, with the spaces we were going to do. One point, when we talk about the smart, it's not just technology. When we talk about the smart, it's related to environment, to good governance. We have the concept of smart is not just related to technology. For us, smartness is much more than that. Means governance, transparency, means mobility, means different things. We needed to make a record for these services. We make podcasts. We make an edition of podcasts related to literature, music, and cinema together with the stakeholders. We create content in different platforms, digital at YouTube, SoundCloud, and Spotify, and we launched as well a non-fungible tokens. No, Bego? This is the things that we tried also to share with our stakeholders. Next one, please. So the definition of spaces, we define these spaces together with the citizens. Where, in which spaces are we going to develop it? What do you consider a space in an urban? What is a good space for co-creating this kind of services and products? We need to rethink on the space approach. Because when we talk about the smart space, everybody was thinking in a closed space with technology. We say, no, look, we need to rethink spaces. Can be a theater, can be a concert hall, can be a chorus, can be the atrium of the culture house, can be the library, and can be also an square. So this is something that we need to consider together. What do we call as a smart space? Then to start concreting there. Next one. So I will just try to put you a kind of podcast in order to see one of the results that we're having. So please, Lynn, could you? We hope
The
that is
first one,
working.
Joaquin, the literature?
Yes, yes. I think that the people will check the rest one, but I think that the literature is okay. I don't know if we are hearing, because it is important to hear.
I can hear it, but yeah.
But I cannot. I am not hearing. All of you are hearing? No, they can't hear. Can we?
You can't hear it?
No.
So let's see what we can do then. Let's see. I will close this one. Go back to this one.
He said that you have to put share sound. Share the sound.
And is it in YouTube or is it in the Zoom environment?
Open it. Maybe when you open, you will see share sound.
If you don't mind, I will just try to share. Okay?
Let's try again. Let's see if it's okay now.
Now, yes. Now, yes.
Irakurtzea nire bizitzaren egunerokotasunean dagoen beste beharrizan bat da.
Creo que soy lectora y creo que es una de las cosas más importantes de mi vida porque me ha acompañado en muchos malos momentos.
Estoy convencida de que la lectura sana. Es más, no solo sana, sino también previene de potenciales enfermedades como la soledad, la rutina o el pensamiento unívoco.
Literaturiaz dekodan harremana beti egonda lotute neure burue zaintzigaz. Daran oinarritxe beti behintzet nik irakurtzen dodanien horretara bideratzen da. Nire burue zaintzie eta apur bat zauri batzuk osatzigaz.
Beste kontestu batzuetan murgiltzeko eta mundu horiekin gozatzeko erabiltzen dut askotan, deskonektatzeko. Istorio desberdinak irakurtzea gustoko dut, emozionalki nola nagoen konturatzen naiz horrela. Baliogarriak dira ere niretzako, genero beltza historikoa, pertsonen bizitzak ere gustoko ditut.
¿Qué me gusta leer? Sobre todo literatura. Más clásica y ensayos históricos. Libros que han supuesto algo así importante o que me han marcado en alguna época de mi vida. Hace muchos años, 100 años de soledad.
Muchos años después, frente al pelotón de fusilamiento, el coronel Aureliano Buendía había de recordar aquella tarde remota en la que su padre lo llevó a conocer el hielo.
¿Qué tipo de género elegiría para curarme? Pues elegiría dos, los de divulgación psicológica y las novelas. Y por último, un título del libro sería Los límites del amor de Walter Rizzo, como divulgación psicológica.
Un músico debe hacer música, un pintor debe pintar, un poeta debe escribir si a fin de cuentas quiere ser feliz. Lo que un hombre puede ser, debe serlo. A esta necesidad podemos llamarla autorrealización.
ni geixen baretzen hauen, geixen osatzen hauen, geixen sendatzen hauen generoa poesize da, inongo duari barik.
Creo que una biblioteca es un refugio.
Nire umeantzako liburutegi etorti da abentura bat.
Askotan, lehenengo kapitulan ere gelditzen naz. Edo 2 egunetan liburu osoa irakurtzen dut. Naiz tituluekin geratzen. Liburu bakoitzetik ideia edo sentipen batekin gozatzea nahiago dut.
So, yeah, I think that with this you can have an idea. So, for developing the podcast, we work together with all the different stakeholders, as you can see. We redefine the space as a library. We use other spaces together with the citizens. We record the voices that you have here are not actors. They are the citizens of the city in different languages, in Basque and in Spanish. And they were participating not as a mere tellers of what if the literature cured them or not, if they avoided stress or not, but they were part of this. They were part of this space, and they were part of this podcast. And we did the same with other performing arts, with different citizens as well, with the music, with cinema, and with the dancing. And it takes a longer effort, but it was worthy because the result is much more inspiring. We can measure the impact, as I told you. We assess the social impact. We can monetize, but as I say, money is important, but it is not the most important in this result. And this is what we work. So I think that in the next one, Lynn, I think that we are finishing. So finally, also with the media, we needed just to work a different digital space to share in other communities for other entities that they were working, how we can make this bilateral, and not only to show, how can we improve this? Are they interested in improving this? They can also help us in improving not just the podcast, but also the measurement. And this is the way we did also with the stakeholders. Next one. And we were awarded by some editorial group, a media group, as a community engagement project in the Basque Country. Here we are showing 2 of the students of the university that participated with us because we thought that they were a good representative of the stakeholders, and we have a different approaches. So it was good. We measure, we have this done, and finally we got awarded as a community engagement project. So it is not just us, the one that are saying that this is a community-based project, but someone else decided, a jury, that we were a good community engagement project. So I think that this is my last slide.
Yeah. Should I try to share the video? Then I will
Yes,
go
if you
out
want.
of the presentation and see if I can see. Where is it? Can I? Yeah. So let's see.
So I wanted to explain to you this video that maybe you don't understand. It was the last part of this project of Garnicartes. We wanted to, let's say, to measure. We use some watches, as you have seen, if dance is good for the stress or not. And we have these people, the last one, the group that you are seeing that it helped us are some Ukrainian exiliated art people that we invited them as a community to dance with us. They make the performing, they wear everything, because we thought that maybe this community, of course, is very stressed because of the situation in their country. And we decided to work with them, and they make the performance, and we measure together with them the pilot. We have the podcast in the screen that we then show, and then we measure with a small watch if dance is good for stress or not. And this was the final part.
Okay.
So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Joaquin. So I saw in the chat while switching screens that there were some notifications. Could anyone just go through the comments or questions?
The comments were just regarding the sound thing in Zoom.
Oh,
Just
okay.
suggestions.
Okay. So, thank you, Joaquin, for guiding us through a real vibrant project where you really showed us the social return on investment. But just recap a bit where we started, the design cycle. What is the problem? Can you solve it? Can you make it? And does it deliver? So I would like to zoom in now in firstly the exploration phase, but also we apply often a methodology in a pre-field test proto testing phase. Because Joaquin told you about the exploring the needs and expectations and involving citizens. So, but what is really the aim of exploration is to empathize with your end users' world, daily life and work environments, and really to understand the why and the how, and also understand the context and what's behind it. Remember the myth I said, people always tell what they want. It's also about the context, what people, how they will behave. We will in this design cycle, in this module we want to focus on the exploration and a bit of the proto testing, because in module 7 there will be a more extended explanation and information on co-creation methods. So today it's just about the exploration phase. So what are the methods you can use for exploration? That can be an observation or interviews or cultural probing, like a diary study or a mood board. An observation can be just like a fly on the wall, where you where you are not there, so just incognito. Shadowing, that's already a very small kind of interaction, but there's no interference between the researcher and the person you are observing. Thinking aloud, then you are really already interacting with your participants, and where you really ask them to explain when they do some kind of interaction with a device, that kind of interaction, and tell them and let them explain them what they're doing. And the most intense kind of observation is the participative observation, where there is really question answer, like already kind of an interview while doing an action. Here in the picture you see a lady who was using her walker, and we asked her to, while observing, just use your walker here indoors. And then she says, yeah, and then she was also explaining the think aloud and also the participative observation. And there we find out that she's not only uses it for mobility and transfer from one place to another, but also doing her exercises in the morning. What can I tell you more about interviewing? It's more, exploring and discovering throughout listening, understand the why and the how. It can be individual. Perhaps you heard of the critical incident technique, where you ask people to recall a certain moment, a certain experience, and let them explain about that, like a real narrative, a story that they tell, and just listen very carefully to where were there some barriers, some challenges, and go more into depth in those critical incidents. Very much like the narrative interview, I like to hear the stories of people. Sometimes they a bit withering or not staying to the main topic, but don't worry about that, because getting a more insight on how they experience their daily life, what the challenges are, also uncover a bit what they need and what they expect and what they wish for. Individual interviewing is quite time consuming, especially when you go to that critical incident techniques, that narrative interviewing. Often in projects we opt for a group interview than a focus group. The advantage for sure is that you have the interaction between different citizens, patients, that there is really a group dynamic. But the downside of it is that if the group is too big, or if you have some more dominant people in your group, that there is the anxiety to express personal feelings and ideas. But for sure, you have like an ideal perfect sample size could be like 8 persons, 8 to, and then often you have some dropouts last minute, so that you have a group of 6 to 8. That's a nice group to work with. So when you go out for an interview, be well prepared, I would say. Make yourself a topic guide. In an ideal world, you could make it with another colleague, another student, a colleague student, to have more input and to be very critical in the way you formulate your question. And at the end, we will ask you to formulate a question and to put it in the chat. So a topic guide is just a guide for the moderator. What about the questions in an interview? Try to open up your questions and also your opening question, your first question, let it be like an icebreaker to have a comfortable atmosphere, a safe atmosphere, a non-threatening, so that everyone feels safe and free to express their feelings. A question has to be kind of short and very clear. Try to formulate open-ending questions and not no and yes, but open ending. Avoid the why question, because why questions tend to be followed by very simplified answers and not that rich narrative we are looking for. So it's better to try to compose questions in a what context, as in what prompted that decision, or what led to that decision. So try to do it in that way. Try to not already give an example in the question, because then you already give your direction. Try to use common language and not too technical terminology, not too specialized words. And for the closing question, always try to see that everything is covered. Do you want to add something? Add the individual, the critical incident technique. That's what already was in the previous slide. What we also have good experience with, and is worthwhile trying, is sensitizing probes or cultural probes. So that's where you try to, or you ask participants to document their daily lives during a certain period. Could be 7 days, could be 2 weeks. We always try to keep the periods quite short, because it could be intensive for participants. So they get a toolkit, a probe pack with materials, with some tools, and with some clear instructions. And then they, sometimes we try to have like mixed methods, a bit of writing, but also some sketching. Also, pictures are involved, sometimes making some recordings, audio or video. And then it's follow up by an interview to interpret the data, of course, because what they mean by it at that moment, it's not always clear for us as researchers. So there's also a follow-up interview. And the aim of the cultural probe, you can see it as a kind of a homework, is to gain insight into experiences and activities of daily life, also gain empathy with your target group, but also already stimulate design ideas. The main advantage is that you as a researcher cannot influence participants, because they do it on their own, at their own homes. And for us, it's a starting point for further co-creation and co-design activities. After that follow-up interview, and if you have like a group of 6 to 8 participants, you see some patterns and routines in people's daily life. And that could be a starting point for your co-creation session, just to bring in those elements and those routines in that workshop. Or it also could be a starting point for making up a survey, that you really know what bothers people or what the challenges are, so you can have a set of survey questions. So if you would like to learn more about cultural probes, there is a lot of literature on, so I just put one reference here on the slide. And then, also what I said before, we talked about the exploration phase, but also reveal the real needs of people. Also, you can do that with at the end stage. You can do it in any stage, actually, also in co-creating and defining stage. But as I said before, that will be module 7. So looking forward to that. But I just wanted to touch upon a study method we use, and that's in the proto-testing phase. And it's called the human factor study. You can see it as a pre-field test. So it's if you look up what is human factor, it's on the crossroad between really engineering and psychology, and the focus on both design as well as on the cognitive and social functioning of users. So in a human factor study, challenging real-life circumstances are simulated in a controlled lab environment. In a careful selected sample size performed in a one-on-one session, some challenging tasks with distractors you have a protocol where you go through with your participants. And it's also observation. And we use also think aloud methods to reveal or uncover potential hazards. So why could you use a human factor study? Why should you do that? First, it was used in safety critical industries like defense and aviation, but now it's also entering in a broader field of design and safety management. And of course, we as Lika Lab are focused on health and well-being, and also when it comes to intake of medication, of course, safety is an issue, and we can't give a smart pill box when we want to test out a smart pill box. We're not just going to ask people use this pill box for 5 or 7 weeks. It could be dangerous if something goes wrong and the intake is not as it should be. So we're a bit reluctant for that. And then we do the human factor study. So we ask participants to come to our venue, have that smart pill box, and run through a predefined protocol where there are some distractive tasks, where there are some interactions with the pill box, and through observation we see where they make errors. It's error management, where they hesitate, where they make the mistakes. So it's also in the protocol we try to provoke mistakes to really check on the usability of the product. So yeah, it's in the testing phase. It's a pre-field test. You could use it when the product has not yet the full functional maturity, and especially when technical difficulties are involved. So again, the advantages and disadvantages. It's in a controlled environment. It's safe. You can also include some vulnerable participants like older people, people with some lower digital skills, people with migration background. It's difficult to reach them in their homes, but with the help from some intermediary organizations, we can reach them and ask them to come over to have that kind of a test during 1 hour, 1.5 hours. You have your mixed data. It's really an advantage. It's not only the observation, it's also the thinking aloud. And through questionnaires, a pre or a post questionnaire, you also have some quantitative data. And it gives you insights both on the design as well on the usability and the contextual fits. But on the other hand, it is time consuming because it's a one-on-one session. We do it always with 2 colleagues. One is the researcher, the moderator, and the other one welcomes the participant in another room, do some pre-questionnaire on demographics, but also on getting a bit to know on profiling the participants. And afterwards, the other colleague also is involved in the post questionnaire about the experiences. A specific observational guide is needed, and the supervisor must strictly adhere to tasks and may not deviate from text and explanation at any time. So now, that being said, a bit up to you now. It's just a very small and short exercise. I would like you, but before that, are there any questions on the methods of exploration, like interviewing, observation, cultural probing, or the human factor study? If so, please put them in the chat. I will see it. And otherwise, I will give you already the assignment. Think of a project or an assignment you are working on currently, or you have been worked on previously. And would you think of a good question for your interview topic guide and put that question in the chat. I give you 5 minutes for that, and after that we will have a short feedback. I will go to that slide where there was that keep it short and clear, avoid the why question, so I just jump to this one. So yeah, 5 minutes, and let's see what where you come up with. Should I give you a minute or two? Because I just see one question. A good one, actually. Now I see questions coming. Mm-hmm. Okay, so very nice questions. Yeah. Yeah. And what is an expression or analogy you use to help people understand your experience with Parkinson's disease? That's also quite clear. It's about Parkinson's disease. So that's a very good one. Could you tell me about the challenges you have been experiencing? It's a very open question. So, and it will lead to a rich narrative for sure. Also tell about your previous experience on this, please. And also please encourage people to speak up. It's a very good one. What sparked your interest in urban agriculture? And how do you envision it playing a role in sustainable urban development? For me, that's already 2 questions. I would stop and just asking what sparked your interest in urban agriculture, and let them explain that first hand, and then going more into depth, and then and how do you envision it playing a role? Could you please tell me about what helps you to learn a new language? Yeah. Also a very open question where people really can have their thoughts expressed. And the last one, what is most difficult thing for you on your path in learning a new language? Yeah. It's also, yeah. Asking what is the most difficult thing, it's okay, but then people are, okay, what's the most difficult? And I suppose you are more looking for their challenges and not just the biggest challenge. So perhaps you, what are difficult things for you on your path in learning new languages? Could be even more open. Considering the increasing importance of air quality in urban environments, how do you think improvements in road infrastructure and transportation systems? There's quite a lot of words in that sentence, so I really would have to read it twice. So also try to, perhaps it's more an expert interview, and then it could work. But try also, if you have like a citizen, a patient, an older person, a youngster, try to stick to common words, and and try also to make the grammar of your sentence quite straightforward. So that's a tip I would give to that last one. Can I skip? Yeah. Let's see. Okay. Yeah. So thank you for sharing that. Are there other questions you would like to put in the group, or other things you would like to ask, what you experienced, perhaps share an experience? And if not, then there is the overall evaluation questionnaire from the VITALISE program. And I guess Nicole will put the link in the chat. Yeah, and indeed. So yeah, we would really like to have your feedbacks on this module also. Yeah, and please be honest, we only can learn from it. So I will stick around for a few minutes here in the Zoom meeting. If there are any questions, then I will read them in the chat and I will try to answer them. And Otherwise, I wish you a very pleasant day, evening, and let's hope we can welcome you again next time. Feedback is anonymous, yes. So be honest, please.